Hello everyone, you probably remember that time I did like a PowerPoint style tier list of Grizzly engines. This time I'm going to do it with, some might say, Grizzly's main rival, William A. Arthur Stanier, who I would say most of his designs are good, so I don't know why I have E and F here. I would say none of them go in here, but there is one design I consider to go in D. But let's start off with this engine, which is the smallest and the weakest. So we're going from power classification. This is the P2 for 044 tank engine, based mostly on a Henry Fowler design. And most of all, these engines didn't really suffer that much problem in their service. They were built between 1932 to 1933 with only a total of 10 built. The 9 out of the 10 were withdrawn in 1959, but the final one, the first member, continued until 1962, which on their last days they pulled motor trains on a branch. So where would I put this one? Well, it's not bad, so in my opinion, B. Which also, just to let you guys know, this is my opinion. You guys can let me know if you disagree. Next is this one, which I consider not a terrible design, of course. This is the free empty passenger engine, but it did banking duties and many other duties, but they didn't really take off that well, especially since a lot of people consider them as Stanier's worst design. But I wouldn't say they were entirely bad, which is going to be a hard pick, because I don't really, I feel like it would be bad to put them in D. Like, they did have good vision for the drivers when they were driving backwards, because they had a tall coal bunker with very good side back mirrors. I'm gonna put this in C, really. It's, you know what, C. Final answer, C. Okay. All right. Next is the 4P three-cylinder engine, and yeah, these ones are not like they're better. Some people consider them better. They kind of did have a similar working life, but I think they lived a longer life than than the 3P. Like, there was always the main problems was the third cylinders. So to be honest, I think this goes in C. Now, here's a good version, a better version, which Stanier saw the 3-cylinder version. It was like, oh, that's not good. How about I try a 2-cylinder? And the 2-cylinder was twice as better. Actually, probably way more than that. It was a much better design. There was no really need for 3 cylinders, and these engines performed very well on many different passenger duties they were put on, even lasting until 1 year before the end of steam. That's how great these engines were. A total of 209, if I remember, were built, and sadly, for a random reason, none were preserved. Oh yeah, that was the same with the 2P and 3P. So, but I say this engine goes firmly in A. Next is the 5MT Mogul, which I think was Stanier's first large tender design. And they performed alright. They weren't extremely impressive, especially since the the LMS already had George Hughes's Mogul design, the Crab locomotives they were known as, which were also 5MTs. A total of 40 of them were built, and one is preserved on the Severn Valley. But yeah, they're B. Now this is the Black 5, and we all know the Black 5s are S. They are S. They are the best mixed traffic design ever built in this country. I said it. Everyone agrees. Sure, they did have a problem with the frames at first. They were a bit too thin, but they, got strengthened out. And they could do anything, anywhere. They could pull passenger trains, freight trains, express freight, high-speed express trains. They couldn't pull streamlined trains, obviously, because they weren't streamlined. But yeah, and the crews loved them immediately when they came out of the works. So that just shows the praise of these engines. And they can almost work anywhere except the Cambrian region and the south coast of Wales. So yeah, that was the only problem. But yeah, great design, one of the best. Now, the Jubilees. I wouldn't say the Jubilees are the best engines, actually. Like, they're good, but not bad. They had a lot of problems when they were first built, especially with the boiler. They always had problems with short of steam, which was the main problem. And even later on in life, the problem was the blast pipe. But they weren't bad engines, still. That's why I say they're B. Rebuilt Royal Scots. Basically, the Royal Scots had a few problems. Most of it was axle failures. So Stanier got a design that was already doing pretty well and made it better, because this engine would go in A. Now, the Princess Royals. The Princess Royals, sure, they suffered problems during the first two, suffered problems during their first days in life, but in the end, they did become pretty good engines, even being put back into service when classes of diesels were failing every member of the class. So I'd say it too is an A. It is a great engine. Now, how does the improvement version, the Coronation class, do? Basically, they like, let's say, yeah, the Princess Royals were like a prototype design, and this was the final product. The Coronation class is a great class of express engine. First started off with streamlining, and they even held the world record when Coronation went 114 miles per hour. And the last Rebel was built in 1948. And they were very powerful engines. They were great rivals to the A4s. That's what I say. I think they're a better design. Yes, bite me. And I think this one is definitely an S tier engine as well. But this is the 8F. The 8F is basically a freight version, like a Jubilee and Blackfires look similar, but one's mixed traffic, one's passenger. This one was a freight version. And they were good, having a huge total of these engines built, and they went to many countries, especially during the war period, when they were picked as the War Department's standard engine. So I say these two are an S. And the final one, the turbo motive. So turbo motive, there have been turbo motives built in the past, but the problem with them were they were terrible. But William Stanier got the Princess Royals, made a turbo motive version of it, and he made it actually work. This, in fact, was probably the most successful I can't speak today, but the most successful turbo motive ever built. And if you don't know what a turbo motive is, instead of being run by cylinders, it's run by turbines. The engine was rebuilt in 1952, but shortly after her rebuild, she was scrapped because she was destroyed in a train crash. But William Stanier got a type of design, a type of railway thing that wasn't working, and actually made it work. And that's why I think too, they go in S. And that is my tier list of every Stanier engine. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you do, let me know. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.